Hello, welcome to Monday. It's after work. It's about 23 degrees. The sun is in and out. It's been quite cloudy today, but no rain still, which we're desperate for. You're never happy. So tonight in the kitchen garden, what I've decided to do is to start off by having a good tidy up, because I've got things all over the place that I've been waiting to move for ages, and I've just not got round to it yet. So starting off with that, and then we can start from a clean slate, see what there is to do then. The chamomile is looking really good, starting to come on. This is the first year of these plants. Flowers looking fantastic, so I'm going to be taking some of these to dry to make our own chamomile tea. So I just dehydrate them in the dehydrator. I've also found some out on one of the walks that we do as well, so I don't have to just rely on what we've got here. So this bed here is actually a tea bed. So a lot of stuff that we're growing in here is to make herbal teas from, which I want to experiment with this year. So we've got some calendula, some borage, nasturtiums, different herbs along the edges for culinary use as well, some lavender, things like that. This is the lavender actually just starting to come through. So yeah, I'll take you on that journey when I do that too. These are just rogue garlics, thugs that were supposed to come up last year and decided to grow this year instead. They'll be due to come out soon though, so when these flowers come up, these guys will have left. They'll have vacated the building. So I've decided I'm too hungry, I need to go and get tea on, as we call it up here in the north. And all I'm doing at the moment is harvesting pretty much every day. We're taking in lettuce leaves from the kitchen garden. So I'll get some radish, some lettuce leaves, probably some beetroot tops. We've got some garlic scapes, collard greens, things like that are also ready at the moment. But we're having a salad for tea tonight. It's such a warm day, we don't feel like anything else other than something light. So a seafood salad. So grabbing the lettuce leaves now. I've made a little start in my my handy little box there, and I'll pop over and get some radish and get those cleaned before we head inside. I don't think there's anything else that I'm going to be taking in for the salad from the garden tonight. The tomatoes are coming though, although I did notice that some of them had blossom end rot. So next time I pick one off that's got that, I'll show you what that is. I thought those of you will probably already know. It's generally due to inconsistent watering, which is a real pain because we do try and do it consistently here. So anyway, never mind. Salad for tea, so I'm going to get on with that and then head back out tonight after tea to get some more jobs done outside. I thought I'd show you some of the radish that we've got going on. Can you see that? So I'm just literally taking out a few good ones for tea. Oh, that one's split completely. Take that out, that's no good. Wow, look at some of the beasts in here. Now these are intersown with carrots, so I do need to try and not, she says as she pulls one out, not disturb the carrots too much. They are quite thickly sown, so it doesn't matter if we lose a few. Okay, so there we go. Quite a selection of radishes to go with our salad tonight. There we go, all washed up and looking fab. There was only one of them that I've decided not to use. Any bits of leaves that were no good, such as this one that I've missed, I've taken off, and they will go to the sheep or to the chickens. Now it did just occur to me, which is why I'm videoing this bit, that some people might just discard the radish tops, but I actually dry them and in the dehydrator. And actually it's given me another idea for tonight as well, so I'll show you that shortly. But I'm going to take these off and I'm going to bung them in the dehydrator so they can go on overnight. But you can't leave a dehydrator, well you can, but I don't like to leave my dehydrator not running at its full capacity because it's just a waste of energy. So I'll show you what else I'm going to do in just a minute after we've had tea. Okay, as I said, I've come back out after tea. It's getting on, I think it's just after 9 o'clock now, something like that. And this comfrey I went to do the other day and there was no flowers out, and it's starting to look fabulous. But if you look down, the problem is it's going to take over these beans. So I can't risk leaving it all in like it is. And I want to make some comfrey tea. Now normally you wouldn't have the flowers in, I believe you would just have the leaves. But I'm just going to chop it all down, put it all into this wee bin, or into this bin here, add some water and just create a kind of a comfrey juice. there are practice ways of doing it, and that's all I'm going to do because it's all good. Comfrey leaves on anything, whether it's diluted in the water, whether it's placed directly onto something as a mulch, are always going to benefit. So for me, let's get chopping these down, and I might try and leave some for the bees, but there is plenty of other things for the bees if I can't do that. Okay. Oh my god, where do you start? Well, I'd never make a hairdresser, would I? But it's done. So I've cleared the space, found some plant pots. So I'll go and pop those in the shed in a second. But what I've done is got an old P-ring arch thing, and I've just left one bit of comfrey in there to contain it. Obviously this is going to grow back with a vengeance. But as you can see, there's actually a pathway down the back of there, and this is all jack by the hedge, a weed to some. So that's freed that up. But anyway, we've cleared a little bit of space here, which I might get some plants in there, and this will help me to contain and to stay on top of this when it's growing now, because it's just literally taken off. Other thing I've noticed, these beans here that are climbing, going to need some support very soon, so that's the job for tomorrow. But this is a very full comfrey bin. You don't want bad leaves in, I'll get those out. And I'm going to fill this to the top with water, weigh it down with a brick, and then leave it for a couple of weeks, strain it out, and then that'll be my comfrey juice that or comfrey tea that I probably won't really need to dilute too much, but I'll take a look at the potency when I've done it. This is packed really, really tight. And we also had a load spare, which has gone straight onto the compost bins, which are in the background there that you can't see. So that'll be some free plant food, which I'm looking forward to. But for now, I think that bed will be a little bit happier. I'm going to get tidied up, and there's one more job before I go in for the night. That is to thin out some of these carrots. So I said that the dehydrator was going to be running overnight, but I don't like to run it empty. So these carrots are desperate to be thinned out, as you can see. And you don't want to leave carrot tops thinnings lying around, because it could potentially attract the carrot root fly. So what I'm going to do is pop them in the dehydrator and then grind them down to a powder, and I can just use that as herbs and additional greens to anything that I need. You could make a pesto out of them as well, things like, there's lots of carrot top recipes online. So that is what I'm going to get on with now, ladies and gents. Then I'm going to head in and get ready to do it all again tomorrow. Tuesday. Do you like my mug? Some days it's just good to be able to come out and not do much on the pot. Today was my first day back in the office for a long time, for like 18 months. Even though I've been working full time, I've been doing it from home, and I've come away with an absolutely stinking headache. I feel worn out. Not feeling sorry for myself though, not at all, honestly. And the weather is cool enough now that I can get outside. It's like, I don't know, 8 o'clock or something, and we just need to keep on with the mammoth watering. This bed here is the mini kitchen garden bed. So what we're doing there is trying to get it established so that we could grow what a family of 4 requires throughout the year, just in this little plot here. So just keeping the family topped up. Obviously we're growing on a bit of a bigger scale as well here, but it's this space here, when it gets into its full swing, and when I get to figure out what I'm doing as well, is to encourage people that you don't need a big space to be able to grow. You can bung all sorts of stuff into a 6x4 metre area and feed yourself from it for quite successfully, hopefully all year round. So that's another thing that I'm trying. For now, I've got my cup of decaf coffee, otherwise I wouldn't be sleeping. It's a shame it's not wine. I'm going to go and get the hose pipe, and I'm going to get on with a mammoth watering session. Hopefully feel a little bit better for being out in the fresh air. And my next job, whether it's tonight or tomorrow night, is to weed this bed here. There's some broad beans that are starting to come, so that's these guys here. Those yellow arches aren't needed anymore, obviously. And there's some pak choi that's gone to seed that needs taken out, but I left it for the bees because they love it, and why wouldn't I do that, because I love bees. So that's going to be another job, whether it's tonight or tomorrow. Absolutely needs weeding, and then also really needs a good water. I'm going to concentrate on inside tonight, polytunnel and greenhouse, We are due rain tomorrow for like the first time in forever, it feels like. It's only 50% chance though. I'm going to keep an eye on that and guarantee if I don't water outside, which I haven't been because, you know, you don't need to as much. But if I don't water outside, the rain won't come tonight. Maybe I'll water like one bed and then it'll rain because I've watered outside. That's what I'm going to do. So I've decided to do a few beds outside in the veg garden bit, as we call it, just because they're so desperately dry. I hope you can hear me over the watering. But I just wanted to show you this bed. These that we're looking at now, the cauliflowers, not the beans in between. Actually, those beans are a complete fail because I'd never even thought about the netting when I planted climbing beans in there. Anyway, these cauliflower looked as though they were done for. If I can find a picture, I'll put one in. But they're coming on so well, so I'm really pleased about that, because the cauliflower in my other growing area got eaten by lambs, which was not fun at all. So this bed is doing really well, but the netting now, to be honest, isn't providing much cover. The leaves have grown that tall that they're right next to the net, so the butterflies can just literally land on the net and lay their eggs through it. So this may be coming off soon, and then the beans might be able to actually grow tall rather than across. Yeah, I'm really pleased with this bed though, all brassicas, and all of these leaves are edible, so even if the main bits of the actual bit you'd expect don't turn up, we can just live on greens. This bed next to me here, whilst I'm still watering the brassica bed, are the onions, and this is the bed that the chicken got into and destroyed, but actually they're coming on really, really well. There's some really good ones in there. And just the other day, before I started doing this vlog, I intersowed in between. You can see there's just a line of chicory. I can't point to it because I'm watering with my other hand. And I've also intersowed carrots in there too, carrot seeds, which are just starting to germinate. So I'm really pleased about that. So as the onions get pulled out, the other things should be coming on. There's also onions in that further bed next to the polytunnel, and I've popped in a few different things in there too, beans and might be a couple of rows of carrots in there, can't remember. But yeah, so hopefully as the onions come out, other things will be ready. So that's one thing I want to really get better at this year is, oh hang on, just let me move. Go on to this bed. This is where I took the comfrey down last night, it's looking sad. Yeah, one thing I want to really get better at this year is making sure as the beds become free, or one crop comes out, there's something else ready to just go straight in. Even better, it's in before the other crop comes out, so that it's kind of the intersown with something that's just finding its roots when we harvest the other crop. And there's a space in this bed just there. I'm going to have to find something for that. They're all my other potatoes growing in buckets. They need a really good water as well, although they're looking super healthy. It's finally Friday. Tonight I'm going to do some work in this bed here. The soil, the ground is just like concrete. It's crazy. So we're actually due a couple of hours of rain tonight. It came for like 5 minutes the other night when it was due. If tonight isn't successful, it's due all day on Sunday, so really looking forward to that. I never thought I'd find myself saying that, but tonight I'm going to get dug. There's a couple of empty spots in this bed, so I've weeded it kind of, and I'm going to get those dug over now so that we can get planted, and then when the rains come it can just get everything settled in nicely. So we are doing as much no dig as possible here, but on this bed at the moment it just feels so dry. There's no way I'm going to be able to get any plants in there without some form of digging to get them in and then adding compost or manure. So I've decided for this little small, I don't know, it's about 1 metre by 1 metre, 3 foot by 3 foot area, I'm just digging it over, taking out as many of the weeds as I can, try my best not to disturb the plants that are already in, which you can see there isn't an easy task. So I've decided to turn it over because I'm just going to add in some of the rotted horse manure mix that we've got. Now this is our own, so that I know that it's nice, free, chemical free stuff. So I've dug all of that space over. Now I'm just pulling along just a tub full. There's not that much of the old bedding, the old horse bedding, and I'm going to rake this in, dig it in ever so slightly. It'll help maintain the moisture that's in the soil if there is any, or when we do get some, and it'll also act as a bit of a weed suppressant as well. So it doesn't take too long to get that. I'm just turning it in just a little bit, not too much, because to be honest, it's back-breaking work. This soil at the moment, it's not easy. I've decided to pop in a courgette in the corner so that it can grow out onto the path a little bit, making best use of the soil and of the space. And also we've got a few stray green beans that I think would go perfectly in this corner as well. So just trying to get this courgette in first, picking off the leaves that are dead. They do look a little bit too yellow, but that's because it's been in its pot a little bit too long. So just pulling off the dead leaves, and we'll get that in nice and safe and give it a good water in. So next up we've got the green beans. These guys have just been sat looking a little bit sad for themselves outside of the shed, so I've given them a pre-water and just popping them around this courgette. They'll come up fine just here. It's a slightly shaded area, so they might not come on as quickly as if they were in full sun, but they'll do just fine, I'm absolutely sure. Now really I want to apply this level of mulch to all of the rest of the bed, but it's not an easy task to get it in and around all of the veg, so I'm just going to try and make sure that it stays weed free at least. So there, that's a good job done. Moving on, this sorry looking affair, my first early potatoes that I've got left. There's a few here, a couple of different bags. All of them need looking after and taking out very soon. And I just thought it's about time that these mint plants that I've got, there's also a rosemary and a lemon balm here, need a good water too. They're looking very very dried out. I think the terracotta pot doesn't help. There we go. So I've reused that tub now. I've taken the potatoes out to put yet another courgette in. I've got some radish in there, some leeks here, along with my salad, some squash that are waiting to go in. This courgette's coming on, not as far on as some of the others actually, but it's doing okay. More leeks. These are the Greek gigante beans, if I remember rightly, and those are the Jerusalem artichokes on the end. These first earlies are actually looking a lot better than some of the others. A few pots there of things waiting to go in. You'd be forgiven for thinking it's Friday because I'm with my tomatoes. Look at these. How awesome are these coming on? I'm really pleased with them. They're a Roma variety. So, let me stand up for my legs ache. Last night I just got busy with other stuff outside. I was putting stuff on, some herbs that I've bought that needed to be in pots, all sorts of different bits and pieces, and I potted and I just really enjoyed it, so I just wanted to do that instead. Today is an absolutely glorious day. Tomorrow is Sunday tomorrow, and we're due rain all day, which is fantastic, so I'm going to have a day in the kitchen, preserving and freezing and doing all sorts to some of the harvest that we've already got. So that meant that I didn't get into the greenhouse last night to spend the night with my tomatoes, which I like to do on a Friday. So what I'm doing is, before it gets too hot, while the greenhouse is still in the shade, I'm in here getting tidied up, getting them watered, getting them attached to the canes a little bit better where they've overgrown them, and generally just having a look at the health check and things of the plants. So I'm going to get on with that. I'm going to get on with that until the heat in here doesn't allow. At the moment it's only 19.5 degrees centigrade, so it's totally bearable. Well, it's totally fine, not even bearable, it's just nice. So hopefully I'll get some good time in here. I've got an all-day session planned in the garden, so I'll just show you some snippets from it whilst I get busy. These guys have dried out massively. This is like from 24 hours, so you can see the kind of heat that we're dealing with that we're not used to here. For those that are interested, when I was last pruning, I snapped some side shoots out and I've just placed them in water. And can you see the roots that are starting to come through? So these are going to be extra tomato plants. So now these roots are coming through and I know that they're viable. There's quite a few in there. Just literally put some water in the bottom of a bucket and dump them in while I was working. But yeah, now I know that these are viable, I'm going to pot them on and hopefully they'll become strong, healthy plants, because the plan this year is for me to actually to grow a year's worth of tomatoes, obviously not for fresh eating, but for canning and things, so that we've got them on the shelf instead of having to buy all the tomatoes from the supermarket, because we go through a lot. Now look at these guys, these aren't tomatoes, there's mother hen and her chicks. Anyway, yeah, harvesting blueberries today as well. I've just had some for my breakfast, it was delish. I'm going to get these harvested. Beautiful. The ones in the greenhouse are definitely doing so much better than outside, so despite the heat of the spring that we've had so far, definitely growing blueberries in a greenhouse or a polytunnel moving forward. So this is the example of what I was talking about the other day, blossom end rot. That is no good, so I need to pick that off now and toss it, because otherwise the plant will continue to try and grow and make it well, and it just won't be able to. So I'm taking it off so it can put its energy into the rest. Now this one here, you can see, is good. This one potentially isn't. I'm going to have a good read up about this today, because my understanding is it's due to inconsistent watering, and I consistently water, so I'm not sure what that means. But anyway, the rest, some other varieties are looking fantastic. That one, that it's aromas that seem to be susceptible to it more in my case, but we'll keep an eye on it. That's it done. Well, that's the front bit of the greenhouse done. There's the back bit still to do, but it's 28 degrees in here now, and I don't do well in the heat, so that'll do for me. Everything in here in the front bit has been tidied up, strung up, trimmed down, the dead leaves taken off, given a really good water. I've got a new bucket full of tomato cuttings, so I'll get those potted on in a few days. I'll leave them there to root, and then that just helps to know which ones will make it and which ones won't. The other ones I'll get in at some point today. God, I've got a sweat on and muck. So now I'm going to vacate the greenhouse because it's too hot. Find something to do outside. I've just popped the frame on that Stephen made. It's got it's just wood with netting on. Now it does stop some pollinators getting in, but it also stops our chickens getting in and trashing the place. So although I leave it off as much as possible to let the bees get in, at the moment it's going to be on, because I'm not going to be able to watch the entrance of the greenhouse, and the door needs to stay open. It's going to get too warm in there today. Time for a dinner break. Broad beans and peas. Well, mange too. We have a visitor to the plot. Well, she lives here, but she's not always out, because you go on the beds and you cause trouble. Anyway, she's out. It's cool enough, and she's very happy about it. Stay there, Annie. Back, back, back. Good girl. Right. Up here, we've got the rescue bench. There's a few onions that are on the floor for some reason. These are gooseberries that I rescued and now need rescuing from me. So basically they've been left to fend for themselves, and now it's time for them to get potted on. Actually, this isn't gooseberry, sorry, this is elderflower that or elderberry even, that I harvested myself from cuttings. This is definitely gooseberry, as are these little ones down here. This is marshmallow, the herb that I bought, and just some beans that don't need rescuing but are on here for some reason. So there's my mulberry bush in the background, tree bush. I'm going to get these just potted on, and then I'm going to take you on a journey down to our other plot, which is, oh, I don't know how to describe it. It's like concrete, and the lambs keep getting in and eating things that they shouldn't. It's not what I envisaged it would be this year. It will be next year, I'm sure of it, but I didn't get it built up in the autumn because I actually thought the ground would be that good with the pigs just being on there last year. Turns out, although they've manured it, it's just basically like clay, and given the dry weather that we've had, you can't even get a fork in the ground. So we did do some work on it when we got some rain previously. But yeah, at the moment I'm just struggling big time with it. However, I've got a plan for some of the cardboard boxes down there that I've got that I'm growing in. Sounds a bit crazy, but I'll show you what I mean once we get down there. Just going to rescue these babies first, and This one can't come with me to the other plot because she has to go past lots of chickens, and chickens like to be chased, according to Annie. Chickens don't like to be chased, so we'll leave her in the house. This is what today's come to. I'll explain to you tomorrow. I've employed some help, also known as dragging my daughter into it today. It's Sunday, I'm feeling better than I did yesterday, and I'm going to show you the reason why I gave up yesterday and went for a gin instead in the garden. So today Grace is with me in the paddock plot, which is the growing area where we had the pigs last year. We've never ever grown on it before. I made the rookie mistake, is it? I don't know, of thinking that because the pigs have been on here and they've manured it for us, that it would be great ground to grow in. I mean, it was previously just weeds and bits of grass and things like that, and the pigs have eaten all the roots and nothing was left. But to be honest, the realisation hit yesterday when the lambs got in here again and have destroyed even more of the stuff that I've got growing, and when I just looked and saw weeds and weeds and weeds and thought, you know what, is this a little bit too big of a task for me? And I felt quite down about it all, and I was just sick, really. So I just threw the towel in yesterday and went and got a gin and slept on it. And today I've given myself a slap and thought, get on with it. Things happen. Yes, it's not as picturesque as you expected it to be, but we're going to move on. And there's two problems. One are the lambs getting in, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to fix that today. Two is it just looks unloved and a mess, which is not the case. It's very much loved, and it makes me sad to see that. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Grace is here with her secateurs to help me chop down some of the thistles and some of the things that are starting to take over. And just waiting for the train to go past. And I am barrowing lots of spent bedding, so it's pretty much basically fresh straw basically, and starting to work on the potatoes. So I'm just going to give you a quick look around while Grace starts chopping down the nettles and the thistles for me, and at least if we can start making it look a little bit better. I'm not sure what we're going to do about the lambs, but one day at a time, we're going to do this. So this here is the rows of potatoes, or are the rows of potatoes, should I say, that go all the way along. 1, 2, 3, and in the middle bit of 3, this line here, there were cauliflowers, and the lambs have eaten every single one of them. Maybe where's that one? I can see that might be one that survived, but yeah, no cauliflowers left, which means I've got a big row along the middle here of nothing, and therefore the weeds are just going to take over, which, as you can see, they're already doing a grand job of. I mean, this is the ground that we're dealing with. How dry it is at the moment, it is like cracking terribly, so it's not the best year to start this project anyway. So we're making the most of it. I've got all of this straw that I'm barrowing down at the moment, and I'm just filling in where there's nothing growing, banking the potatoes up a little bit as I go. And then, I mean, I don't know if that looks a mess to you, just from here to here, forget about that bit for now, but I think it looks a little bit better when you can only see the potatoes and you're kind of covering up and mulching. And I'm going to come all the way along here, but then what I'm also going to do is, on top of that, I'll be adding the actual rotted horse manure as well. Not today, because I just won't be able to do that all in one day. So over a period of as soon as possible, I'm going to be adding all of the rotted horse manure too, so that it's not just, I'm not expecting weeds to just not grow through this straw. I know they're going to. This is just buying me some time. And then essentially I'm just going to keep adding up and adding up. Then we come to the next row. These are cabbages, which have kind of survived. Some are doing okay, but the lambs have destroyed the netting and things like that. So there's lots of weeds growing through those too. I'll probably try and mulch around them with the horse smoke over the next week or so. And then this is the really sad bit. Let me just cross over. This looked beautiful. Now, not you. You're sort of beautiful. This looked really beautiful, and now it looks chewed. Things are missing. things are trampled, and it's just heartbreaking, to be honest. So I need to do something with that. I'm not sure I'm up to it today. We had a nice kohlrabi starting to form there, but gone. Okay, anyway, so that's that. There's some swede here that I'm going to thin out today or tomorrow. We've got some, because it's Father's Day today, so we might not have as much time as I'd like. We've got some courgettes that are suffering because of the lack of water, so I'll try and do something about that. And then there's lots of bare ground around here, which I need to figure something else out for too. And then this bit here, I just didn't even attempt to do, just because the weeds are just coming through thick and fast. So I'm going to chop those down and probably cover them with ground membrane, to be honest, and not do anything with it just yet. Stepping through here because I can now, because there's no plants there. Outdoor tomatoes actually looking really good. Really good. Pleased with those ones in the ground. Ones in the bags are looking good, considering that they've just suffered with dry weather. This box here has got potatoes in it. These boxes here we just move on by. Potatoes in this one. Tomato, tomato, potatoes, tomato. When I say potatoes, these are ones that I bought cheap as chips because they had them on sale, so it wasn't the usual time for them to go in. We'll just see what happens. Yeah, so essentially the idea that I had here is that I used these bags to suppress the weeds underneath, but obviously they're just growing out the sides as well, so I need to figure something out there. And these boxes here, the idea was again to suppress the weeds, because otherwise it'd just look like this. And secondly, I'm going to fill them up with multi-purpose compost, bit of horse manure, and just grow things like leeks in them and stuff, just so, you know, just because what I'm going to do at the end of the season is just open the boxes out. There's a few rubble and things that'll come out. Just open the boxes out and then just leave them on the top, cover them in mulch, so it's just going to add to the soil essentially, and they won't have to get taken away. That looks like it's actually been growing in the middle of the box, but I guarantee you it's just a weed. How are you getting on, dear?
Been nettled on the butt.
Nice. So yeah, Grace has got a massive job ahead of her, taking all of, so there's the thistles on the outside here, all the way around. Look at them. I mean, this is what this would look like if the ground membrane wasn't there, so it's doing a good job. Ginormous thistles and nettles all the way along. It's not that we don't have enough nettles in the woods there at the back. There's just hundreds, so I'm not worried about chopping these down. And then yeah, I'm going to try and figure out what to do with these two. And this, you will see the progress of it in next week's vlog. It's Sunday afternoon today. We've been cleaning out the goat pens, which is where all this stuff has come from. So I didn't really film that for you because it's extremely boring. And I'm going to finish up with this bit now. I've got another barrow there, and then I'm just going to keep on going, see how we get on. And yeah, if the lambs get in the meantime, there's nothing I can do about that just yet. Come on, get busy. Right, I'm going to get to it. Stay positive. Right, so that's that line done. You can see there's different bedding here. This is rotted sheep bedding, and that's all the goat bedding that's literally fresh out of the stable. But goat bedding's classed as a cold manure, so that doesn't need to be rotted. And to be honest, it's pretty much just fresh straw that hadn't been on it very long. This is just hopefully suppressing the weeds here. There's more to do down there, but for now, we were due rain last night. Today. We were promised it was going to be torrential, and then it just didn't happen. So I'm going to get the squash and courgettes and things watered down the bottom there because they're absolutely gasping. As you can see, I've enlisted a little bit more help. Stephen's helping Grace with the nettles, although Grace seems to have disappeared. She's done a good job. And those thistles there are going to be raked up and popped in the barrow, and we'll just compost those as well. Oh, there we go. Water's overflowing, so that's let's get this done. Okay, so this bit now, I've brought down some boxes that we've got, filled them halfway with muck, horse manure, and then topped them up with a layer of compost. I'm going to pop leeks in here. This may or may not work, but I'm hoping what I'm going to do is just to make them flat. I've had to just prop them up for now, but I'm going to get the leeks planted, and then I'm going to come in with a load more. I mean, the one thing we have got in absolute abundance is horse manure, rotted horse manure, like the year's worth. So I'm going to get the leeks in so they're in and they can start getting rooted, and I'm going to fill along here with horse manure, so that one, it'll prop them up, it'll give the boxes a bit of support from caving in, like that one has there, and also it'll suppress the weeds that they'll obviously inevitably grow. I'm not going to start on this. Hi, me. I'm not going to start on this one yet, because I just don't have the emotional need. No, what's the word? I just can't do it, basically. Not yet. Not today. This week. So yeah, I'm going to get the leeks in. That's going to make me feel better. Pleased with the results of the potato beds. And then we're going to start getting on top of this. We will not be defeated. Who knew that the sheep would want the thistles? Sorry about that view. These are my leeks. They are leek, is it de soleil? Is that how you pronounce it? Yeah, I'm just going to try and tease them out one at a time. Holes in the soil, in the compost, just like that. Drop them in, leave it at that. Do I push my luck? No, I think what I'll do is I'll go for 3. I think my luck's been pushed enough in this paddock. Even that might be too much. I can always eat them young if we need to. Right, let's get these in. Just like that. So they are just literally finger deep. You saw me doing that, and I'll just water these in and leave them. If they survive, that'll be fantastic. Right, next box. There we go. All done. Hopefully they'll get rooted, do well. And this isn't the best that they'll look. Right, that's it for me for today. It's sheep's having a wee next to me. Okay. It's Father's Day, so we are going to get showered, get changed, go see our parents and wish them a happy Father's Day. And I don't know if I'll get any more time out here today. It depends what time we get back. Busy week ahead. Lots of planning to do. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We made it! End of episode 2, end of week 2 of Tales from a Kitchen Garden. Ooh. If you've made it this far through this vlog, I'm aware it's quite a long video compared to normal, so thank you for sticking with me. I will try and get the length of the video sorted for next week and the week after, but it's not easy fitting it all in, and I'm never sure what to include or what not to include. So thanks for sticking with me. It's been a bittersweet week, but it's the longest day of the year, and I want to stay positive and think we're going to get through the whole issue with the lambs and with the pigeons, and then we also had stuff eating our sweet potatoes when they went in. But let's stay positive. Longest day of the year, as much daylight, growing time as possible at the moment. So I'm not going to ramble on too much. I've done enough of that through the last 40 odd minutes, however long this ends up to be. So thank you for your continued support. Next week is going to be all about that plot down the bottom there. I want to have it sorted, looking spectacular. I thought of a solution for the lambs actually. So we're going to get that sorted tonight. And yeah, so great. I'm so pleased to be getting to the end of this week. It's been quite testing, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll talk to you soon. See you in the next episode.